What is up? Happy, day is it? Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Jumpstart Sessions, where my goal is to provide you with a greater sense of clarity, confidence, connection, alignment, that boost of energy, the Gebs juice, so that you can go into what you're doing in business and life with a little bit more zest, with a little bit more power, with a little bit more, pep in your step, so that you can accomplish some pretty cool things. So I'm going to do what I always do. So forgive me for the first few seconds here while everybody pops in. I hope you're having a great week. And let me know if you can hear me. I'm just going to get this shared and then get this out to a few people. And then from there, we'll get this topic rocking and rolling. So if this is your first time on one of these, let me know. I'd love to know. If it's your 50th time, let me know. How long? I'd be curious how many of you have been seeing me for years actually do this kind of stuff on here. How many of you listened to Gebs Juice back in the day? All right. Give some likes and love. Here we go. Rock and roll. Ba, 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 ba. I think we are good. Let me see if I can get the questions. All right. Rebecca, what is up, girl? So proud of you. So proud of you. So let's talk about that. So something I've been observing and studying a lot is the power of the mind, the power of thought, the power of our words, the power of what we think about on a regular basis. And, one of the things in my observations is that there was a lady, there's a couple of stories I'm going to tell here, but one of the most recent stories was I was at Lowe's picking something up, and there was this lady sitting there at the checkout aisle, and she was essentially saying, "Oh man, life's not been very good. I'm so aching. I'm in so much pain. My mom always told me that when I get older, it's going to suck and it's not going to be good." And I just looked at her, and instantly it came to me. I just said, "Sounds like your mom was a prophecy." And she kind of giggles. She's like, "Yeah, you're right. She kind of was." And she goes, "That's what I tell my kids all the time. When it gets old, it's going to suck. It's not going to be too good." And a person who always comes to my mind is Clint Eastwood. I'm going to actually look up really quickly because I say this, but I believe Clint Eastwood's like in his 90s. How old is Clint Eastwood? I haven't done this recently. Okay, so Clint Eastwood is 88 years old. 88 years old. He is still directing, writing, acting in movies. Now, I would say, depending on the movie, he's got some age on him. He looks older. But by God, the zest and the internal and the life in him is all there. And he's still acting and kicking like he's 30 years old. And so it's a small little scenario, and I'll give you another one. But what I've seen is that what we say and believe over and over and over again becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And so that lady was pounded into her head from a young age from her mom that, "Oh God, when you get old, you're going to feel crappy." And so that her daughter started to believe, when I get old, it's going to suck. It's going to be bad. I'm not going to feel good. And by God, now she's older. She doesn't feel good. And this lady's maybe in her 60s, more than likely probably her 50s, maybe her 40s. And she acted like she's 100 years old and she can't move. And, there's a lot of things going on there. But one of the things that had happened to me when I was younger is I said, well, if I do what I love, I'm going to have to just get by. And if I do something that makes a lot of money, I'm going to be miserable. The irony was, the more money I made, the more miserable I became, while simultaneously I kept getting by. Because I kept doing everything subconsciously, probably not consciously, but subconsciously, in the sense of creating the scenario that I would just get by, and simultaneously that more money meant not being happy. And by changing that paradigm, by changing that thought process, things changed for me. Now, there was once a story that I told that I found about this guy who had this bicycle. It looked like a normal bicycle, and essentially it went right when you turned left, and it went left when you turned right. That was the only difference in the bike. And his son was like 6 years old, something like that, and he was able to ride this bike within like 6 weeks, I think it was. And I have the nuance of this a little off, but basically his father, the one who made it, took, I think it was 9 months to be able to ride the bike, because his wiring in his brain had it where from a young age, his entire life, right? They say it's like riding a bike. When you're learning how to ride that bike and it becomes muscle memory, that muscle memory is there. So when a bike that should be a bike doesn't do what a bike should do, what happens? your brain says no. Like, you don't have to think right does this, left does this. Your brain just knows. It just knows. You don't have to think about it. And so he had to practice and practice and practice and practice and practice because his brain was so hardwired for that bike doing a thing a certain way. He would offer people, I think, $250 at speaking engagements for a person to ride 10 feet across the stage on this bike. No one could do it. No one. They couldn't even go 10 inches because they start wobbling and they're like, oh my gosh, what's happening here? And they fall off the bike. And so depending on your age right now, depending on how old you are, ultimately, it's going to be how hard it is to rewire the defaults in your brain that you're having for certain things that are happening that you just don't understand. Like, I don't know why I'm doing this. And it's because from a young age, you got hardwired with a certain way of thinking, a certain way of doing things. And as you got older, family, society, the freaking internet has pounded you a certain way. So your defaults might not be ones that you absolutely love or enjoy or that seem to be very helpful, but until you become conscious and aware on a daily basis of what things are happening and what's working and what's not working, and then start to practice the other things when they happen, just clicking and stopping that thing in the moment and trying to do it a little differently. Be aware that you're doing it so you can start reworking your brain to do something a little different. To not have that default to the negative, to not have that default that it's not going to work out, to not have that default that has you, saying things that aren't very helpful. Preach it like life is what you make of it. Oh my gosh, that's so true. Yeah, if you have any other thoughts or questions you want to share this, I'd appreciate it. That'd be awesome. But I'm always curious. I love getting feedback. It's one of the big things. If you're enjoying it, always give some likes and love. At least I know you're listening. I never know. Sometimes people come on and off. It's always great when you get to talk to somebody. But I love getting on here and I love providing, what I've learned through the years is that people don't always speak up. That's what I've learned. People don't always speak up. And it's one thing I've learned and practiced to do better. When I'm finding people's content on social media now and it's having an impact on my life, I try to like it and I try to leave a comment just to let them know, hey, I love what you're doing. Because sometimes if you're not a person, I do stuff in real life, of course. This is real life, but also there's no one here but my computer right now. But the thing I really want to try to do is I want to try to, do what I would like to receive even. My wife's really good about that, about leaving reviews. When she buys something, if she, had a great experience with it, she leaves a review. She's like, I want people to leave me reviews. And even though the people that would leave her a review aren't the same people that she's purchased from and left a review, so it's not like the law of reciprocation from the person that she already did something for. It's just, it's a universal thing that I believe exists out there where it's kind of like karma, whatever you don't believe it, have faith. But that what we put out is what we get back. And we even see it when, she talks about these Etsy stores where everybody's treating people like crap or they're talking about their clients like crap, but they seem to be assholes. And so they attract assholes. And my wife is a sweetheart and she's sold over 100 things on Etsy so far. And overall, everybody's been great. And so I believe what you put out there, you get back. So I wanted to start making sure that I acknowledge the people because I realized that I've had all these people that will message me sometimes and be like, oh, it's great to see you back. I'm so glad you're doing things. I missed what you were doing. I don't know that I ever saw a message, a like, or a comment or anything in the past. And a lot of people are lurkers. And when I realized I was a lurker. So, I'm trying to engage more. And I just encourage you all that whether it's me or anybody, if there's something that's making an impact, send the message. Makes a difference in the people's lives who you're enjoying their content or the things that they're doing. See here, my man Ronnie, freaking from Egypt right now, live from Egypt. Appreciate you, brother. Hope you're enjoying yourself. You look like you are. So, anywho, if any of you have any questions or thoughts, let me know. I'm going to pounce off here, but I wanted to just start doing these a little bit more regularly if they're not, any more than 5 or 10 minutes long. Like I said, calling these kind of jumpstart sessions to provide a greater sense of clarity, confidence, connection, being able to connect the dots in your life and what's going on, connect with people, connect with yourself. And I'm really good at encouraging and really good at energizing. So if I give you a little bit of my, as people call it, Gebbs juice, then awesome. Because I know that if you can take more inspired action, more awesome, inspiring things will happen in your life. So, this is meant to be a place for hope and encouragement and support to move you along in your journey towards living the most happy, healthy, enjoyable life you can. So I appreciate you. Have an amazing day. I will talk to you soon. And if you have any questions or thoughts that you'd like me to cover on a future topic, let me know, because I'd love to cover your topic on a future episode. So rock and roll. Have a great day. We'll talk soon.